Welcome back to another episode of Mindful Habits. I'm your host, Ron Varigan, and the purpose of this podcast is to help you live more mindfully. Now, I believe that the point of mindfulness is not just about building a strong meditation habit, but it's also about establishing a series of mindful habits that enables us to respond mindfully to what's happening in the world around us and intentionally move us toward our goals. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about meditation and kind of exploring how to meditate. Let's begin by taking a mindfulness moment. I'd like to invite you to take a few deep breaths. Shift your attention from whatever you're doing prior to this and give yourself this gift of this moment of calm. Relax your shoulders and unclench your jaw and notice your breath, following it in and out. And do your best to release whatever stress that you might be holding. Take a moment to tune into your heart. And let's be grateful during these challenging times and become fully present. Welcome back. In this episode of the Mindful Habits podcast, we're going to be taking, kind of exploring meditation and what it means. But before we jump in, I want to talk about my habit tracking app. I just implemented streak milestones where you get recognized by the community for reaching certain milestones as you progress in your daily and your weekly habits. And I'm working on the next set of features so you can kind of see, be able to see dashboards and upcoming challenges and participate in challenges in the community. So I'm really kind of excited where it's going. If you haven't downloaded the app yet and you want to kind of join us, I tried to keep three things in mind when I was building the app. One is simplicity, really keeping it simple. It doesn't have tons of features. It's just a really simple habit tracking. But more importantly, there's a community aspect where we can encourage each other in our, sending each other kudos for the habits that we, as we progress, and more importantly, help you to achieve a result and actually install the positive habits that you need to be, successful in your life. Now, this app is available on iOS, Android, and via the web. If you're interested in checking out the app, visit thehabitlab.co. So that's thehabitlab.co to learn more. Suppose you read about a pill that you could take once a day to reduce anxiety and increase your contentment. Would you take it? Now, suppose further that this pill had a great variety of side effects, all of them good. Increased self-esteem, empathy, and trust. It even improves memory. Now, suppose finally that this pill is all natural and costs nothing. Now, would you take it? This pill exists. It's called meditation. Now, this is a quote by Jonathan Haidt, and it just really it really summarizes the benefits of meditation. Now, the difference between, I talk about mindfulness and meditation now. Meditation is something you do to increase your mindfulness. So if you had a large circle of mindfulness and what mindfulness means and everything about mindfulness, there'd be a smaller circle inside that mindfulness circle, and that'd be called meditation. And meditation is a tool that you use to increase mindfulness and self-awareness. Now, I turn to meditation because of panic attacks. A few times each week, my heart would just start pounding, and it seemed to happen out of the blue without any sort of warning. I had these for 30 years. I didn't even realize that they were panic attacks. I just thought it was just a side effect of my asthma medication. And about 6 years ago, I was reading a book about anxiety, And they described these exact symptoms that I was having. And I thought, oh my God, these are panic attacks. This is not just, some weirdness. So once I made this association, I started looking for solution. And that's when I really got serious about meditation. Because I dabbled with it in the past, but I just really didn't quite stick with it. But really, I just got, once I made that connection, I dove right in, and 20 minutes a day, and I've been doing that for almost 6 years now. Now, there are many forms of meditation. There's the following your breath, focusing in on a home base, and this is just usually might be in your breathing of some sort, or that area in front of your nose, just kind of noticing your breath. There's counting your breath. So this is like box breathing. So you breathe in for 4 seconds, hold your breath for 4, exhale for 4, and at the bottom also hold for 4 seconds. So kind of this it's called a box breathing method. And there's various variations of that, like 6, 2, 6. There's all sorts of different combinations. There's body scans, so starting at the top of your head down to the tip of your toes, and just kind of working your way through body scanning. Noting your thoughts, so say a thought comes by, you say, oh, that's a thought, oh, that's an emotion. That's another technique. Metta or loving kindness meditation, whereas you're giving yourself self-compassion and self-compassion toward others. There's forms of moving meditation, so qigong or tai chi or any of these types of moving meditation. Yoga there's kind of a moving meditation. So there's many forms, and I think you really just kind of have to kind of explore what fits for you. So if you've tried meditation in the past and it didn't quite stick, it just maybe you didn't find that right thing, but there is something for you, and you just got to kind of got to stick with it and find that whatever that is. Now, some of the insights that I've had from meditation, probably the biggest one is you are not your thoughts, right? I remember hearing this quote. I forget who said it, but the purpose of meditation is not to control your thoughts. It's to not allow your thoughts to control you. And this is probably this biggest insight for me. You've probably heard me talk about the quote, between stimulus and response there was a space. And you find your freedom within that particular space, and this is really just kind of sums it up nicely. Where we have these thoughts, and we think these thoughts are us. We're not our thoughts. That's probably the biggest insight. And you're going to have these thoughts. It's not about making these thoughts go away. It's just letting them so that they go by, so that they don't control you anymore. They don't cause the anxiety. They don't cause the uncertainty, and you really get your power back. It's really quite amazing. The next insight would be non-judgment. We can be pretty hard on ourselves. And now the challenge is, we're wired with a negativity bias. And what we have to do, you can't get away from your negativity bias. It is what it is. That's the way we're wired. That's the way we're designed as humans. But what we do is we learn non-judgment, so that once again you have these negative thoughts. And instead of believing them, we start challenging them, and it really just, we have the thought, and it's a practicing a non-judgment. So you really just start being you stop being so hard on ourselves. The way you're doing that is you're kind of moving out of our heads and into our bodies, right? We're exploring that mind-body connection, with the breath. The breath gets you out of your head and allows you to kind of ride the wave of your thoughts. It develops empathy and compassion, starting with self-compassion, and expanding to include empathy and compassion for others. You might have heard this word called equanimity. It's a really weird word. I kind of trip over it every time, but it's basically a mental calmness, especially in difficult situations. I call this really kind of achieving a calm confidence, right? It's that ability to keep a level head when everyone else is freaking out. And it's a way to manage emotional hijacks. I think, one of the things that really benefits that I've noticed from mindfulness or meditation specifically is, the buttons that used to, that I would cause me to fly off the handle. Have really just kind of, push the button away. It's fine. I'm okay. It's really a tool that enables you to move from powerless to powerful. Instead of reacting to the world, it helps you build that confidence that you need to deal with, life's challenges. Life is challenging. We live in challenging times, and instead of reacting building up these defense mechanisms, it really gives us our power back so that we can step into our best selves and grow. It's a growth self-awareness tool. So your homework. I want you to start exploring meditation, even if you've tried it in the past. Give it, kind of lean into it a little bit more. The way I really got serious about it is I downloaded an app. My favorite two of my favorites right now is Calm. There's a couple tracks within Calm that I just really enjoy. Jeff Warren, one of my favorite authors, has a introduction and ongoing series within Calm. I really recommend those for if you're starting off. Jeff really kind of makes meditation fun. Waking Up with Sam Harris is another app that I use. It's a slightly different take on it. It gets a little cerebral. Sam Harris has a really interesting take on meditation that I just really enjoy. So it's kind of that combination. I kind of do the Calm just to kind of get me going, and then the Waking Up to really kind of challenge my thinking on meditation. And both of these apps have some great starting courses. But these aren't the only apps. There's tons out there, and I think you just need to kind of find your own style, your own groove, right? Now, and you don't need an app, right? You could just sit and breathe. Just sit and breathe, put a timer on your phone, and start with 1 minute. Now, the key lesson with meditation is consistency is more important than quantity. So don't commit to say, I'm going to meditate for 60 minutes every day. It'll quickly fall apart if you haven't grown into it. Start with 1 minute. Use the techniques to install that we've covered off in this podcast about installing habits. Keep it really simple. Start with the 1 minute. Add 2, move to 5. But it's more important to do it at a regular time. I do my meditation one of my first things in the morning. I do it every day, 7 days a week. No matter what, meditation is my keystone habit. Do it daily, and if you miss a day, don't miss twice, and really kind of build in that habit. If you have any questions that you want me to answer about this show, or perhaps cover off in a future episode, I'll put a link in the show notes where you can use to submit your questions. I'll also put a link in the show notes where you can download my habit app and you can start tracking your meditation habit. I want to personally thank you for tuning in. I wish you well on your mindful habits journey. Until next time.